Alrighty, so I've done some of this off camera, mainly because I was trying to watch my videos just to see if I can pick up anything that I wasn't sure about. So I'm just trying to see if I can get, because it's got 2 thrust washers at each end of that gear set. And if I can, let's see if I can turn the light on. So down in here, little focus. I don't know if you can see that thrust washer's, it's sitting that way. I need to try and get something poked down in there and wiggle it across, and then I can at least slide that shaft in. Fun little thing to put together. Whereas that steel box, because because that box is cast, it doesn't need those thrust washers because there's nothing to wear away. Like, you know, well, the casing's hard, so it won't wear away. Whereas this is aluminium, so it needs those steel thrust washers for it to work against, if you know what I mean. So I'll see if I can get that lined up, and then we can at least make sure that shaft fits right through, and then yeah, we'll go from there. Right, I think I've got that lined up enough now that I can get that shaft in there. So I'll do that, and I'll come back to you, because the biggest problem is I need the frickin' light half the time. I meant to bring my the headlamp from home, because the one I've got here is bloody flat. Keep forgetting to put bucking batteries in it, and it's when times like this when you need it, you forget it. Right, let's see if we can get it in there. I'll probably get a little bit of wiggling to do, but should be right, I think. Yes, we're in there. Right, I won't put it in any further until I know that I can get everything else in, just in case we pull it out again. I hope not. All right. I hope not. Because I think I might have to put this whole thing in the frickin' press to get that rear bearing in, I think. From memory, looking at my videos before, just jogging my memory. So this is the, when you call it reverse idler gear. So when I'm finished, there's a little plate. This one here goes in there and locks those 2 shafts so they can't go anywhere. Right, now the rear shaft.
Out to the show, kick it into high gear, now we let go. And if you're feeling weary, I feel like you gotta scream, then let's go for a ride in a shiny machine. There's no time to be humble, smiling at the sound of an echoing rumble. Hit the open road, push the pedal to the ground. Heavy metal thunder, smoke and lightning, it's time time machine. Let's go! Well, if you're feeling weary, feeling like you gotta scream, climb on.
Well, don't you hate it when you thought you had a piece of galv pipe? I know I did. I just don't know if somebody's picked it up and used it for something else. But I had a piece of galv pipe that would fit over the handles in this. That was about, I don't know, 4 foot long, I guess. Now about the same size as that. That I was using for that bender or folder because I didn't have enough leverage, if you know what I mean, because the handle's got stupid frickin' short handles on it. And you think I can find that bit of frickin' pipe? Because there's a little piece there, but I know it's not that because it doesn't fit over. I thought for a minute, maybe I'm frickin' going mental, but I reckon somebody's picked it up to use it for something else. I'm sure I kicked it underneath that table the other day, but I was having a clean up, but it's not there. Because the other thing too is I'm just debating on here. I'll turn the camera around so it's easier to frickin' show you. Because I'm just debating on here whether I should be pushing on this piece or on both bits, because it's got to go into that piece, but it's also got to slide over the shaft, if you know what I mean. I think it's probably more into this. That's going to be the most resistance. But I want that bit of pipe because I've got this, but I don't know if it's big enough, but I can sit that over it. It gives me something to push against, if need be, but it's driving me nuts now. I have to have a bit more of a hunt, because I know it was there the other day. I've seen it. Because I was just going to cut, 4 inches off it, so I had a piece to push with. But yeah, it's disappeared, son. It's disappeared on me, which is really handy. Oh, I'll come back to you. I think I might have found it, or found something else that'll do the job. Right, this is the plan so far. So I got all this shit stacked up on here. I managed to find enough bits and pieces. Try and push this down in here. So I've got to get it down so far, and then I've got to try and slip these pieces in here, or until I can see the threads for that nut, then maybe I might be able to just turn it in by hand, if you know what I mean, with a bit of pressure on, and then slip those little pieces in there, or I might have to just undo this and slip this front shaft out to get them back in, because I don't want to leave them in there and then crush something. So we'll just come down here. Right, there's a little bit of thread there, that's cool. Right, I might see if I can get these bits in, and then we might better just, even if we just gently tap this down with a wee bit of timber or something like that, the last bit of the home, until I can get enough thread on there with the nut and maybe pull it all the way down or something like that. We'll see. I might have to come back and push it on, but I need to get these in. Right, we'll zoom you out a bit. Right. So we're definitely in neutral. Hopefully you can see that. So, what key is that? That's reverse. First, I'm guessing. Second. It's top. Nice. Will be a little bit stiff. Haven't been used for a while. Free up. Lovely. Awesome. All right. I'll check what the time is. And just see where we're going to go from here. See if we've got enough time to whether start screwing with these gaskets, whether we just cover it up for the weekend. Because like, this isn't in here properly yet, and lots of stuff. So, just cover it up and leave it for the weekend if we have to. See what we're going for time. Right, we struck a wee issue. When I did the nut up, I actually pulled the shaft back. It wasn't pulling wasn't pulling it in. I wasn't thinking about it because this is the back part of the housing. It's got that lip in it, but the bearing was sitting flush with the top. It must have pulled it in a little bit, but not enough, if you know what I mean. So I've got to try and find something that's smaller than that diameter, but not smaller than this diameter, so it pushes down on it. And I haven't fucking got anything. I thought about using the old bearing, but I don't really want to get it, not likely, but get it jammed in here, if you know what I mean. And I thought maybe I could maybe a washer that I could sit in between to just give it a little bit of height, but I haven't really got anything the right size. So yeah, like I've got all these other bearing races and stuff like that, but they're just not quite the right size, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm going to have to try and work something out. Try and work something out. I don't know whether I could possibly stick maybe that old bearing in Dad's lathe and we'll knock the centre out of it, if you know what I mean, and get rid of the bearings and the race out of the middle, and whether I can, I don't know whether it would turn it down. It's the only thing, because it'll be as hard as piss. mind you, I could always, if I get the centre out, I can always fucking heat it up, can't I? And soften it. But yeah, I almost need to turn that down. Just, you know, a couple of passes, you know, just take a, I don't know, you know, 40, 50 thou off it, or whatever. What's 100,000 millimetre, is it? Or is it 80,000 millimetre? I can't remember. But, you know, like, take it enough off it so it's got clearance. So it'll slide in the air without any problems. So if I push and all that other bearing, it doesn't get stuck in there. Because obviously, here's my hauler. That's freaking. But anyway, like you can see where the paint is on that. And so look, I don't want to push that one in behind it and get it jammed in there. So yeah, I might try and see if I can get this bearing apart because it's rooted, and I've got another one over there to play with if I need it. But yeah, so I can get this one apart, get the centre out of it, maybe heat it up, and then yeah, go to soften it and nail it basically, and then if I can, and then just turn it down, even if it's on this one edge. You know, turn down 3/8 of it or something like that, or whatever I can get into. That's the other biggest problem, like, is to get out enough grip on it, and to get the tool in there just to shave a bit off to push the bearing in. Because I haven't got any drivers here yet. I thought I was in a wind, but yeah, I had to, because I went to just to sit that on there to figure out the drive gear for the speedo and the other bits and pieces, and I was like, something's not quite right here. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. So yeah, I need to figure out something to push that bearing right in home. So yeah, I'll come back to you probably, I'd say maybe later on, or Monday or something like that. Thanks for watching. Right, morning guys, so welcome back again. So I'm going to try and get this bearing apart if I can, get these rolls at it so I can use it to push that thing in. I'm not sure what I can do here to get that smaller. I was going to take it to Mum and Dad's, but I'm now COVID positive. I spent most of yesterday in bed. I'm pretty reasonable. Like, I'm not 100%, but pretty reasonable. And I thought for a couple of days before that, I knew I had a touch or something, but I just didn't know what it was. But Mrs. Boy, he came home from work partway through last week, and was corona positive, and he'd been isolating in his bedroom and just coming out with a mask on every now and again for whatever he needed. But obviously I caught it off him, but also the people that own Studebaker, which live on this farm, have been COVID positive for about the week before that. So whether I caught it off my stepson or them, I'm not sure. But so anyway, so yeah, yesterday I've pretty much been all day in bed. So when I normally end up spending all day in bed, and now I end up with a sore back. I can't lay in bed that long. It just doesn't do anything for me, due to other problems. So yeah, I normally if I end up in bed for too long, like being crook, I normally end up with a really stiff sore back. I'm fine once I get moving again, but it's just to get that couple of days moving again and get to free my back up, and it always seems to happen. So yeah, I don't know if I'll be here all day, but I want to try and get this gearbox at least sealed up, and see how I feel. So yeah, I need to get these bearings out because it's the only thing that's about the right size. I actually just thought about maybe cutting a ring of wood, but it's too small. If it was a little bit bigger than that, I would do that. Cut a ring of wood and then the next one, or maybe a couple below that, and slip it over that, and just enough to push it in. But I think if I get the rollers out of this and get that inner shell out, and maybe heat this up so it's red hot, so it de-hardens it, if you know what I mean. And maybe just run the grind around it to take a little bit of diameter off it, at least part way across anyway. Because I was going to go around Dad's, not to de-harden it and spin it in the lathe and take it down a little bit, but I might avoid there. They've already had Corona there quite a while ago. I don't really want to get back to them again. So yeah, I'll just carry on doing this then, and kind of keep to myself for a couple of days, hopefully. I feel alright. Yeah, I feel like I got a bit of a hot sweat and whatever, but like I'm not that bad. Yesterday was probably the worst because I had all the body aches and shit. But no, it could have been worse. Anyway, we'll carry on. Come back to you when I've sorted something else out and got these rollers out of here, I guess. Alrighty, so where are we at? So I've got this bearing in here properly now, and it's resting it up against those two split, whatever you want to call it, that split washer that backs up against the drive on the main shaft, the output shaft. But I had to push the front shaft forward, so now I've got to push that back in, the bearing back into the housing. So obviously to take up that slack. So I'm going to do that now. And basically what I ended up doing with that other bearing is you can see the remnants of the middle. I just burned it out with a gas torch in the end. I got sick of trying to push the balls out. I managed to get a few out, and then I was like, screw it. So I just grabbed the gas torch and just burned it out, and then spun it out. That worked perfectly. I just ground it down a little bit on the grinder which did a few turns around just to take the tolerance down a little bit, just in case it got stuck in the back. So I'll go see if I can get this in on here now and just push that back, and hopefully I should be able to do that without undoing all this shit. That should be right. If I should be able to get around that, I think. So I'll go set that up back up on the press, and I'll just push that back in. Alright, well, I'm finally back to where I thought I should have been. And I thought, I'll just make some gaskets up. Obviously for the back here, for the lid, and for on here. And I was looking at this, and I was looking, yeah, okay. It just doesn't quite look right there. Then I noticed that it's got no seal on it, and I forgot to take the fucking seals out. What a pain in the ass. So now I've got to take that front shaft back out and take the seals off that bearing. I don't even know why I didn't do it, didn't think about it. I think I was too busy trying to get it together. One step forward, two steps back. Right. Almost back to where I was. Pull this shaft up, make sure we get there. Nice. Yep, alright, we'll go put the front shaft back in. We're getting there, finally. Right, so we're finally back to where I was hoping to be on Saturday. So I've got both bearings and all the nuts on, the lock tabs on the washers. So we're good to go there. Now we can start sealing this thing up. So we need to make a couple of gaskets. Well, about 4 I think. Well, probably only really needs to be 3. One for the top, for where the gear stick goes on, and the selectors. One for the back, one for the front. Probably can make one for here too, but I don't know if it's that critical or not, to be honest, if you know what I mean. But we can make one for there if we need to. I just can't remember if there was one on it or not. But yeah, we'll make one for the back, one for the front, and then we'll do the others. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly cut a rough shape out for what I need. So I'm going to grab a pen or something first, so I can roughly mark it. Right. So I'm just going to actually just use my metal snips just to roughly cut this out, and then we'll do the rest with a hammer. So I'm not working with a big massive piece. Over. Hammer. Oh, do the same again. Alright, just like that. Pretty simple really, if you can see that, yep. So yeah, that's all you got to do, and then just put her on, and I'll make the next one. can't for the life of me remember where that washer goes. Where is it? That one. Can't think where that goes. I might have to go home and look at the raw footage so we can work out where that went. It's obviously been on that main shaft somewhere, but I just can't think where. This is the seal for an ear. It goes in there. We may have to do a new felt seal for that. Got a sneaking suspicion. This is meant me on with that nut, but I don't know whether it goes on there like that, and then spring is on there, and then that thing, you know what I mean? Can't remember. I'm gonna have to go home and look at my raw footage, I think. Just to work it out. So I was trying to look at my phone before, but I just, because it's high speed, I just can't pick it up, if you know what I mean. I think if I go back through the raw footage where it's at normal speed, I think I'll work it out. Right, I'll turn the phone on, or the camera on this time. Now I've got a wee bit of a dilemma. It's probably not a biggie until I can work out where this goes. I think it either goes behind this nut and lock tab washer, or it goes on the front side. So it's not a biggie to undo the nut and slip it in there. When I figure out where the hell it goes, now I've messaged Dave in Australia, which he's got 3 25s, and he's got workshop manuals and lots of stuff, and there's drawings of the gearbox, you know, where they split them through and they show what all the pieces are, but it doesn't really say that there's a washer and then the lock tab washer and then the nut on the back of the box or on the front of the box. It just shows you that there's something in there, if you know what I mean. So it doesn't really help me. Because then on this, there's that spring, and obviously a key in there, and then that, and then the what do you want to call it? This bit goes on here, that and behind that. So is that on there, maybe? Would that be against that? I don't know. Maybe? You got that? I don't know. I don't know. Because that means that would have to be on this side of that. Which ain't going to happen, is it? No. It's definitely not going to happen. No. Because that fits down there, so that definitely means it's not down there. Unless that's pressing against there like that. That must mean it's on the front end then. I even went through my videos, all the raw footage before I sped it up and screwed around with it doing the videos. Because I went home and had a look. And I can see when I undo the nuts and bits and pieces, but I can't see when on the back whether I take it off or not, if you know what I mean. So I can't work out where that was. And it's a pain in the fucking ass. Because in the other pieces, for the other gearbox, it's in there too. Which is annoying. I just don't know where it goes. And I can't remember it. It's not a complicated box to pull apart. and put it in where it needs to be, but it's just to remember where it is. I couldn't, like, it's not going to be on this side of that, so the only really other place it can be on is the front side of it. But I can't remember if it was on there either. I might have to have a look again, see if I've got the footage of undoing the front nut and the housing and stuff, and I was pulling that apart. So it's the only other place I can think it could be, because I've seen the footage of me undoing that, and I'll set some stuff down here with the camera out here, but I just can't tell what's in the hand. It looks like there's a couple of things, if you know what I mean. Like, I know I pull the nut off and sit it down, and then I go to pick this up and use a screwdriver to pop up all the wood's in there to get it off. But I can't tell if there's one thing in my hand or two. It almost looks like there's two things, which would explain that. But I just can't tell. And it's annoying. It frustrates the piss out of me, to be honest. So I'll walk over here. Get back. Trying to see if there's witness mark in here. Because it almost, to me, it's hard to say, but it almost looks like, to me, like there's almost looks like a witness mark of one of those cutouts where they put the balls in the right place. But I don't know. It's hard to say, but it kind of looks like that. And it kind of fits in there, if you know what I mean. It fits this one better than it does the front one. So it's the front one's bigger. That doesn't really fit it as nice unless it was up that way, if you know what I mean. So there's only two places it couldn't be. And it's hell of frustrating. So I want to finish putting this thing together, but until I figure that out, or I can remember, yeah, it's a bit of a hassle. Like, it's not a big job to put the rest of the stuff on. It's a few minutes job, but I just want to make sure it's right, which is a real pain. And that drawing just definitely doesn't help me. I sent that drawing to Arco, but I don't think he's going to know better, understand anything than I can. So yeah, I might have to put a call out on Facebook or something like that. Sorry, I'm sitting down, my back's not very good. Yeah, I might have to put a little call out on Facebook or something like that, and just see if anybody's worked on a few of these and is a little bit more familiar. I reckon if because I pulled these apart in February, so we're now May. So yeah, like it's just, I reckon if it had been a week, I probably would have remembered. But I can't think where it is meant to be. And it's easy enough to, whip a nut off or whip one of these covers off, but it's just to remember where it's meant to be. I think it's meant to be underneath this, but I just can't quite make sense of it, to be honest. It's annoying. So yeah, I think I might just have to double check the footage again, just see if I can. Sorry, pick it up. I was just trying to pull it around my freaking phone cord, charger cord. Yeah, just see if I can pick it up and work it out. But it's a pain. One of those funny things. One of those little gremlins you come across when you just something doesn't quite make sense. And I think if I'd been videoing in 4K and 60 frames a second, I would have picked it up what was in the hand. But it's just not quite clear enough, because I know occasionally, because I send clips to Arco, and I chop them down to 720 a lot of the time, because it's just easier to send them through different apps, if you know what I mean. It's a little bit easier to send that, just a clip or something like that to them. It goes faster because it's in 720. And occasionally I forget to put it back up to 1080, and then if you watch the clip and it happens to be in 720, it makes it even worse, But if most of it was filmed in 4K 60, which I can't do off my phone, I can do in 4K, but not 4K 60. I'd be able to pick up just about what everything is, I think. But yeah, sometimes you just miss details because it's just not quite enough frames, and certain things aren't clear enough, but because they're moving. But yeah. Anyway, I will find out, or we will work it out, one of the two. Yeah. I may even send that clip to Dad that I sent to Arco and just see what he thinks. He's a bit more familiar with some of these things. Or even like a lot of those early boxes would be something similar, He would know whether there was possibly a washer behind there or something. I would go see him, but because I've got the COVID thing, I don't really want to go see him at the moment. Anyway, I'll carry on. I might just check out a couple of scenes in the video and just see if I can pick up when I'm pulling that front shaft apart and doing that nut, and just see if there's something else behind that at that time. But I think it's in the back, but I don't know. You know what, we'll carry on. Righty guys, so welcome back again. Another day. I was trying to make this yesterday in that video, and ever since the weekend, since I got COVID and spent basically Sunday in bed, I've been having some real back issues because I've got gut issues as well, which I'm going to go try and get sorted, but I'll have to wait till I sort of got past the COVID part of it. Anyway, so the mysterious-ish washer I've been trying to work out for the life of me for the last couple of days, really since Saturday, where it's meant to be. And it's been quite a drama. I just posted a video up this morning that I managed to edit. It's been so bloody sore, I haven't wanted to sit at a chair for any great length of time, like on a chair in front of a computer. It's not so bad sitting on the couch and getting up and move around. As long as I can keep moving around and don't sit or stand or stay in one position for too long, I kind of come right. But if I sit in one position or do whatever in a certain position, or even if I'm sleeping for too long, my back will seize up and then I've got to try and free myself up again. I'll come right, but because I managed to manage it reasonably well, but I figured this thing out by hunting through the first couple of videos of me doing this, and so I keep thinking it was in the back. I keep thinking it was in the back of the gearbox, and it's not. But what was throwing me off is the first couple of glimpses of the front of the gearbox, because this is the other shaft and the other housing, because the other one's still in the box. You can't see it from the front. So if I turn this around in here, from all the shots I've seen when I was originally working on the gearbox, that's what you could see. And I was like, well, it can't be in there. Surely it can't be in there. We'll get
this camera in a better position. But what I didn't think about was, and it wasn't until after I pulled this front assembly out of the box and then took the nut off in the vise, so I had this clamped in the vise, obviously with all this assembled, and then well, I'll grab the other one, but with this on here, you know, locked up tight, and then I took the nut off, and then I took this over to the press, and I pulled it apart. Now, I didn't really show me catching it underneath. I just grabbed the camera and then walked back to the bench, but you know, I must have shut the camera off and then started again. But I had this here on there like that, with that and that sitting on there like that on the bench, and I was like, penny dropped. It's like, that's where the fuck it's meant to be. So I'm still not 100% sure which way around it goes, but that's why I've got all these bits here. So I'm thinking it goes that way, because if you can see, it's got a lip in it. So it's flat there, and then it drops down, and then it's flat again. I'm thinking, just by the witness marks, so on that side there's no real witness marks. There's like a few little rust marks and spots and blemishes, but on that side, and it's, well, for one, that witness mark there, if I can get it to show on camera, so that dark spot there, I'm bloody sure that is the witness mark from that on the inner race, that the notch in it from putting the ball bearings in the bearing shell. That's the only thing I can think that is. So it sits that way, gets the bearing on there like that, put the bearing on top, pressed in. So it's basically, it's there to help slow down the oil. So obviously that in there, that would be sitting there pretty much like that. So I'm going to do this again on camera. It's kind of awkward, but this would be sitting there like that. And it's basically, it's stopping the worst of the oil running through the splash. Basically, this is catching the worst of the oil and it's dripping down back into the box, and it's not running down through, but it's allowing a little bit coming through the front to obviously a bit of lubrication for the bearing and clutch and whatever else, if you know what I mean. It's allowing that little bit of splash to come through. So that's where it goes, and I'm pretty sure it goes that way. I don't think it goes that way, otherwise, because just that witness mark there tells me that, and I don't see any marks like that on the back side. It's too clean. It's looks like it's been against something. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the other one out of the box. I'm going to just double check to see if it's in the box still, and I'm going to have a look at it too. Just have a really good look. I'm pretty sure I'll put one up here. me give this a clean out and just see if I can see. Actually, I'm just going to get it now. This is still quite dirty. I haven't cleaned this. But that to me looks like because on that bearing there, if that was running on there like that, it would be up against the it'd be up against the outer shell if it was around the other way. So it should be, I'm guessing, that way. If it was up against that, it would be up against that outer shell. And there's no marks of that on this side. But you can see, I don't know if you can tell or not, you can see where it's clean, well, what I mean clean, like no dirt and shit, basically. That tells me that was against that bearing, or against that surface. The surface of this. So that tells me that was against that like that. And just trying to see if I can see the witness mark on that for the let's see if it's on there for the like this one. It tells me it's been up against that bearing. And that's the only thing I can guess that is. It's got that look, that worn look that looks like that's what it's been against, the bearing. See, it's been sort of slowly working on it over the years, if you know what I mean. So that's where it goes. So that means I'm going to pull that piece apart again. Fucking pain in the ass. So it means I probably have to undo that back one. Put a block on the back of the back shaft. Push that front one out again. Press that out. Undo the nut. Press the bearing off it. Put that fucking washer in it and put it back together again. So that's the next job. But I'm glad I fucking worked it out because it was absolutely pissing me off. So we'll do that and see if I can get through that. I'm going to try and get this fucking thing together this afternoon. So what's it be small? So I'll move you to a slightly better position. There you go, now the tripod. And we'll get to it. So yeah, one mystery solved, finally. Right, sorry, got this all back together.
Alrighty, so I'm about to head home, mainly because I'm just sore and uncomfortable, but I've basically got to the point where kind of got it bottled up, I guess, you want to call it, apart from obviously a few smaller things. Like I've still got to put, that piece on there, and still got to finish putting this in here, but I want to make a new one of those, it's a new seal, it's felt. And I've also got to put the speedo drive in it, and a few other bits and pieces. Now the big thing is with this, we need this for the handbrake, but we actually want to put a normal universal drive shaft instead of the rag coupling. So we'll have to work that out. We may change this at some point for something else that's being made to adapt, but it's probably going to be like this because it's got to hold the what do you want to call it, the brake drum. So I'm going to grab those couple of pieces while I'm talking to you. So yeah, I've basically worked through all those little issues, and I was actually listening to a live on YouTube. I haven't done that for a while. So yeah, we got the brake drum and the brake shoe for the handbrake and the clutch lever, fork, whatever you want to call it, and that. These are some of the last bits and pieces to go on the gearbox once I've got these other little bits and pieces dialed in. But yeah, I'm not just quite sure what we're going to do with that. With the universal side of it yet. Yeah, not quite sure what we're going to do with that yet. Mainly because, we may get one built, but have that there on it so we can bolt it to that, but also have maybe an extension on it, or you'd have to have a boss on it that come out, then you could have the universal joint on. Either that, we're going to have to make something that bolts to that with these, and then picks up a universal over top of that. I'm just not quite sure how we're going to do that. We'll have to make something or adapt something or whatever, because that's what we want to do. We want to go to a normal modern drive shaft. That'd be one of the few modifications we are going to do to this thing that isn't going to be close to original, if you know what I mean. But anyway, so that's kind of where I'm at. I got all this on. I'll show you it later on, maybe in the next video or in this video. I don't know. I'm still in the middle of editing a heap of stuff. So yeah, I'll run through a few bits and more pieces, run through the gears and whatever, and what sort of stuff tomorrow, as long as I can get here and I'm not freaking all crippled up still. Hopefully I'll get better and get myself stretched out, and my back relaxes a bit. But yeah, so we're kind of 99% buttoned up. It's just a few small bits and pieces. Now you got to tighten the drain or the filler plug-in and what sort of stuff, that sort of crap. But I just want to double check some torque settings. I've got some more scans at home, so I'll go through them and just see if I can pick up any torque settings for a few bits and pieces for some of these bolts. Not that they're anything critical, you just do them all up, reasonably snug tight without knowing that you're going to break them off, basically. May have to put a little bit of Loctite on them too if we have to, but I think that should be good. Alrighty, we'll catch you later on.